Hi, everybody, and welcome to StreamGeeks. Hi, everybody on LinkedIn. We are live, and I'm so excited today to be talking about an awesome presentation that we have on how to host big company meetings and live streams online. This is a really big topic right now with so many folks on travel bans, working from home, remotely working. I read on CNN that right now the world's biggest work from home experiment is starting right now. It's being triggered by the coronavirus. So that's why we're talking about how to host big company online meetings and live streams. So we're going to talk about live streaming production software, video conferencing and communication software, how they can be used together, why and where to use which. And it's going to be a fun show, so I'm super excited about it. My co-host is not with me. If, as you noticed over here, this person is not here. What the heck, man? How could she be gone? Well, she's not here. She has the flu, and it's flu season. What do you expect? What am I supposed to do? So my co-host isn't here, but hey, we're gonna get through this. We're still gonna have a great show. I'm really excited about it. We are live every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. And my name is Paul, and I'm so excited today to be talking about how to host awesome live streams. Let's clear the telestrator because it's goofing up on us. And let's get started. So welcome, everybody. Today we're talking about how to host big company live streams and online meetings. Let's jump into it because I'm so excited to be talking about live streaming on one hand, video communications, private video conference calls, webinars on the other. And where do those two worlds come together? How can we use a large, online meetings to be more effective? How can we show our presentations more effectively with data and really use all the communication tools available, all the way from video communications down to online collaboration tools as well. So super excited. Do not have my co-host Tess Protesto today. She is home. Her family has the flu. Can you believe it? There's an outbreak. Well, it's happening. A lot more people have to work remotely these days. So that's why we're covering this topic in so much detail. All right, so let's jump into it. How to host big company live streams and online meetings. So the world's biggest work from home experiment has been triggered by the coronavirus. It's pretty incredible. What has happened here. It's horrible, really. The world's biggest work from home experiment has been triggered by the coronavirus. And this is a picture from, I believe it was South Korea that had a pretty big outbreak outside of China, which obviously has a big issue with this. And the IMF, the World Bank, they're considering their spring meetings to do them completely virtually for the first time. And you could imagine that not only is this a big meeting, right? Lots of people from all over the world, but there's lots of people that need to be informed about that meeting. And, generally everyone comes together and meets, but now we're trying to think through the different ways that we can use online technology, like Zoom, for example. And Zoom, Eric Yuan, the CEO of Zoom, recently made an amazing announcement via his blog and said Zoom will lift the limit for its free version in China because so many people are using it amid the coronavirus outbreak. And I just thought that was so amazing that Eric would do that. It really is a testament to Zoom. They're basically making their product free in Zoom with their basic product level. And it's just incredible. Zoom right now, video conferencing is being used for mental health training. In Beijing, the Well-Being Foundation is one of the NGOs there in partnership with psychology professors and top universities are helping use Zoom and Zoom webinars to train thousands of mental health counselors to prepare them for the psychological consultations with doctors, patients, and families in the Wuhan province. 58 training sessions were already being held with 312,000 participants. There was a total duration of training there of 84 hours, if you can believe that. And online education, China Educational Information Platform launched Zoom video conferencing to support its online education and research at its universities in China and Nanjing, Shenzhen as well, and then telemedicine enablement. Over 1,000 public hospitals in China are using Zoom. This is not a commercial for Zoom, but I just wanted to mention how important it is, how quickly all of this technology is being used in this time. So it's pretty incredible. If you guys have comments, let me know in the chat. I see a lot of people in the comments. Hi, Chris. How's it going? Say hi. Let me know what you guys are thinking about, because it's really an interesting time. So public broadcasts, right? So we've got YouTube, we've got Facebook, there are others, Vimeo, Decast, Twitter, all these places. They're great for public broadcasts where you want it out to the world. Now you can have private content delivery networks as well, such as Decast, Vimeo, and others that allow you to have a live stream just locked down to a specific group. But in general, live streaming is for public broadcasts. Now, if you have a private meeting, this is a private company meeting where information is a little bit more sensitive. We're talking about video communication software like BlueJeans, Microsoft Teams, WebEx, Zoom, GoToMeeting, Google Hangouts, software like that. So that's kind of like the first distinction I wanted to draw. And then when you start thinking about this, you can have a live stream, right, that actually is brought into a video conference and then has breakout sessions as well. And then those sessions can be recorded and included with collaboration software such as Slack and Microsoft Teams. So these are some of the things we're going to be talking about. And we have some case studies that we will review as well. But it's interesting to break down the video conference category into some of its more unique features, such as breakout sessions and its integrations with collaboration software such as Slack and Microsoft Teams. So we'll talk about how that can be used. But in an overall setting, you have to think about, where are we in our planning here? Is it going to be totally public? Is it going to be somewhere in the middle? And we'll talk about how that can happen. Or is it totally private? And obviously a public announcement, maybe like an earnings report, would be perfect for live streaming. But you might have a private webinar, which is specific just to a specific set of like teams inside your organization. Now, if you have a private webinar, you might want to have a large webinar, a big announcement, or a gathering of online people. And then you may want to break those people out into their individual teams and have smaller breakout sessions. One of the things that I've learned reading Malcolm Gladwell's book, Blink, is that, trying to organize, groups of people over 300 is really impossible. It is very difficult for the human brain to memorize all of those different people and manage meaningful relationships with more than 300 people. It's just that kind of tipping point, if you will. And having smaller breakout sessions allows for smaller groups to get more in-depth in more meaningful, relevant ways. So breakout sessions are great. Now, the other thing we'll talk about today is on-demand access. Now, one of the things a lot of people forget about is they create a big, long 1 or 2 hour live stream, and they forget to create like a 5-minute recap. And that's really what a lot of people want and need, or especially if you're in the public YouTube sphere or Facebook sphere. People only have a little bit of time to figure out if they're interested in what you're doing. And if you want to attract them to come in, it's worth creating like a short recap while you're there in the moment, and then tell people that there's a link below to see the entire recorded webinar if it's, that's what you're trying to do. And then finally, this is more on the private webinar side, the private company side, but get some of that information into the collaboration tools, whether you're using Slack, whether you're using Microsoft Teams, and we'll talk about a couple different ways to do that. But a great way to add context to a large company meeting or webinar is to share some of the data, presentations, diagrams that you have that you're referencing in your presentation on the collaboration software. So we do this a lot at our company, and we're going to talk about some of the ways to do that. Now, overall, you've got your video conferencing software, right? And you've got your video production software. for those of you who this might be the first time seeing a diagram like this, it is possible to capture everything happening in a Zoom video conference and bring it inside of a video production software where you can do a bunch more, like bringing up a lower third. Let's cue up a lower third so these guys can see what that looks like. It gives you a little bit more opportunity to do things such as, boom, lower third messaging, social media integration, data integration and displays, and things like that. Here's my co-host here. She actually is in the chat. And you can share messages from YouTube and Facebook, for example, and bring people in. And it's just a great way to have the ability to create a higher production value. And what does that do? Why is that so important? Well, one is capturing user engagement and also attention. You know, we want to make something that's not a boring PowerPoint, not a boring webinar. We've all sat through so many of those. When webinars first came out, it was just a slide share. You just shared your slides and that was fine. But, you know, today, more and more people want to be engaged, and it gives you the ability to do a lot more. Now, my next slide actually shows the same thing in reverse. You can actually take your video production, right? Like what we're doing here, you can see we're doing a large screen here, but let's say I wanted to reference like a ceiling camera or a product that we wanted to share. I could actually do so during this live broadcast. Here's a Huddle Cam Go, for example. This is a video conferencing camera for small meetings, but you can bring all of these different video sources into, and I can actually kind of annotate and do all kinds of things on top of live video that you can't do with, you know, video conferencing software right now. So here's kind of an annotation tool option here. We can annotate and do different things on live video. And we can talk about how all of that works. But essentially, you want to be able to create an engaging presentation. Now, not all the time. You know, we're not going to make the World Bank presentation super, you know, modern and engaging. There's a certain amount of, you know, things that need to be done, but giving the audience multiple cameras, giving them access to the data, things like that can really help. And then even further, as you can see here at the bottom, you can break these breakout sessions are so important. So giving small groups of people, small teams, the ability to drill down on what they just learned in small groups where they can access that information and deliver it in a more kind of relevant way. Now, here is a video, what you would look at as like an advanced video production system. Now, keep in mind, remember, you can take everything from your video production system and bring it into a video conference call. You could take a video conference call and bring it into a video production system. So there's a lot of things that you can do. But in this example, let's say it really was a big conference and we decided we needed 6 cameras to do it all because we wanted a wide shot, a zoomed in shot. We wanted to have multiple cameras for presenters. There was an audience shot. And we even have here, which is really interesting, we have a main computer for live streaming in English. And then we have a secondary computer for live streaming in Spanish, for example. Now, things like this become very important for the World Health Organization, for different large world organizations. And then over here, you can see we have a camera operator as well. Maybe we have an additional overflow display. And these are all things, I'm not going to dig into all of them. We've talked about all of these things in some of the books that I've written and also some of the presentations that we have out there. But this is all possible with video production software, especially with IP video. So just giving you guys some ideas. Now, here's a case study, something I'm really proud of because it really does bring together the world of live streaming and video conferencing. We hosted the 2020 Worship Summit here in this studio where I am right now in January 24th. It was a Friday, and we did a big old live stream to YouTube and Facebook. We had over 3,000 churches join the 2020 Worship Summit. It was a great time. Now, what we did was we had this great live stream running from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. all day long, live presentations. But as the presenters were done their presentations, we asked them to join a Zoom video conference call where folks from the audience could join the Zoom video conference call and they could get face-to-face communications in these breakout sessions. And it really became a great way of using both a live stream and a Zoom video conference call at the same time. So it's a great way, as there's breaking news, a really informative, exciting, engaging event that's going on, an experience, really, a real-time experience. It makes learning more fun, it makes it stick with you longer, and it really increases the value. Now, taking it a step further, from the Zoom call, we also gave on-demand access to all of the video conferences. So, and the video content coming from YouTube and Facebook. So as you're doing all of this, that was a full day of presentations that lasted 8 hours. So there was 8 individual presentations that were all turned into YouTube videos and used now for on-demand access on YouTube and Facebook Live. But also, for other companies and different organizations, sometimes you may want to bring some of that information into Slack, Microsoft Teams, again, to add that perspective and context to what you're presenting. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about the options from Zoom because this is an interesting kind of baseline. It's very similar to GoToMeeting and WebEx. There's this free option that allows you to host a meeting with up to 100 participants. But if you do have the free option, it cuts off after 40 minutes. They say it's basically limited and you need to start over. Now, in China right now, they've lifted that limit. So it's really a great thing in China that everyone can use that for free. Now, with the Pro limit, with the Pro license, it's totally unlimited, up to 100 participants. And then with the business and enterprise, you have up to 200 participants. Now, there's also other options. The enterprise actually goes up to 500, and they also have the ability to go up to 1,000 if you have the specific license for that. But that just gives you an idea of the pricing, and that's per license, per user. Now, if you have a Pro license, you can have up to 100 people without licenses joining you. So it's really an incredibly affordable solution. And then Zoom webinars, this is a little different. It's like that 100 meeting room space, but you can have up to 10,000 view-only attendees. So similar to having a live stream going on with the Zoom platform. And you can also have the option to live stream that meeting to Facebook and YouTube. So just an incredible tool. And now let's take a step back and think for a second. Okay, how many meetings do you guys have? How often do you need to review data? Every week, every month, every quarter? How important is it for your organization to keep everyone up to speed with what's going on? There's something called organizational education. And how can we educate the entire organization? How much more productive could your organization be if everyone was educated to a certain level? And how can we make the message of your education, the presentation of that actually make your organization take action? How can we make it engaging and compelling? Well, one thing we want to do is organize your message. And a lot of people like to use charts and they like to use graphs, and that's fine. But we really want to make sure what the takeaway is and try to make sure that the conclusion you're trying to draw in your presentation is supported by the media that you're using. And in my opinion, and we've done a lot of this, is that it may be able to be done in a simple video. You may be able to have a nice production studio that you can walk into like this one here. You can organize your data and your video, and you can put it on SharePoint, and you can bring it to Microsoft Teams, for example. Now, we're a smaller business, so we would probably use Google Drive, and we would use Slack. But sometimes you don't even need to have a meeting with anyone. You just need to create a video, break down the data, show people what's going on, and ask for the collaboration and the feedback in tools like Slack. You don't even need to go live or create, an online meeting. Sometimes it's more about just sharing the data and getting feedback online. We live in a very internet connected world, and you can really, one of the things I wanted to mention that we've learned over the years is organizing that data, right? So if you're going to create a video like we have here, put the video there, and then, put the data there, put the PowerPoint there, and have it organized. You can see here it says Marketing 2020, data or since 2019, I think, or 2018. We've been doing this for two years now, and keep all of the data visually together so that you can reference it later. And if there is a call to action, put the call to action in there with the lower third, something simple. Say it again and again in your presentation or your video. If you'd like people to comment in Slack, tell them that you want them to see feedback in Slack. Find a way to push the conversation forward beyond just the presentation. And we had a big improvement with our company when we took away just sending Excel sheets and data around via email. A lot of people just skip over that, or they breeze through it. And it takes, a lot of time to digest information. So it is important to have somebody summarize it, create visual displays of it, and then have a video explaining it. One of the great things you can do is if you do create a workflow template in your video production software, it's easy to recreate. It's easy to figure out how to do the intro video and the outro video and the assets and all of that. And we have some tools that we've talked about and how to do that. Now, Lance is asking a question here. Isn't the temporary removal of the 40-minute limit free Zoom accounts only for China? Yes, it is only for China. Thank you for helping me clarify that, Lance. Now, ideas for successful video production. One of the things a lot of people need to realize is data needs to be visualized with graphs. That's fine. But can we integrate real products, people, services, and things that help people associate the data with what it actually represents? It will make your presentation stick in the minds of your viewers much better. You'll get better engagement, and people will continue to come back and want to learn more about what you have to say if you present it in an engaging way. So let's imagine that I'm showing you some data about this new NDI webcam that's available from HuddleCam HD. I want to show this to you. I don't want to just have a chart about all the features. I want to actually let you see it. Maybe show it with a ceiling camera, let's say, for example, and let you, kind of zoom in on it. If you're an architect, maybe you want to zoom in on plans and actually show the things that you're working on. Show the back, show the front. We're humans. We were talking about tactile devices, right? We want to get our hands on things and see what they actually are. So I encourage you to just don't get people lost in just the data, right? That's not too much data is no good. Charts and summaries are good, but also build in, this is where that video production system really does come in, actual visuals that can help them connect the data and what you're trying to say with the actual things that they need to associate it with. It's called priming, actually. I was reading about it I can't remember the book that was talking about the value of priming. Another thing that you should think about doing is engaging your audience. So this World Health Organization, imagine if they were able to send out a poll and show real live poll results. This is something that organizations can do. You can show a leaderboard. If you're doing a sales presentation, you can show the leaderboard for sales. If you're doing a marketing presentation, you can ask questions about which marketing campaign people connect with the most, and then display those on the screen. So really important stuff. Again, a high level thing here, and this is something that everybody knows about these days, is you want to be informative, but you also want to have some entertainment value. So it's called edutainment, right? The presentation should be entertaining, but it should also be educational. And that's where that sweet spot of where you want to be. Now, just to recap from a data visualization perspective, you could be using Excel, you could be using Google Sheets. You can actually integrate Google Sheets and Excel into your video production software to show, different charts and different things. You can use annotation and collaboration tools that are available, and obviously cameras, microphones, and lights, and then collaboration and distribution like Microsoft SharePoint and Slack as well. Now you can enhance your things with additional things such as, and you can give an increased transparency. That should be number one. My little number one got lost there. You can have increased perceived access to a top executive or a CEO. So by having that CEO get on camera more frequently, And on these live broadcasts are all hands meetings, and then jumping into those breakout sessions, getting face to face, or at least acknowledging comments and engaging the audience. It can really increase the perceived access. You can allow top executives to reach out to remote offices and remote employees more easily. You can improve communication efficiency. You can organize your data better. You can even crowdsource ideas using the chat room and being more engaging in collaboration tools. You can even get the community involved, and you can immerse all levels of departments with the company goals. So it's really great. And one thing we would say you should do is you can measure the pulse of your business and the results by using factual information that can provide the basis for productive discussions and decision-making. And once you've tracked the business data for a while, you're able to uncover patterns and trends that you can predict in the future. So we talked about that little bonus tool there. Sharing information is good for business. And I think a lot of people understand that. So get out there, share your message, use some of these great tools, figure out whether you want to create a public presentation, a private presentation, or a mix of both, like we did at the Worship Summit, where we had a live broadcast, but we also had breakout video conference sessions. That's been our presentation. If you guys have any questions, we are here live. I'd ask for you to ask them now. Otherwise, we'll wrap up this great little presentation. I thought it went really well. We will be listening in the comments below. That's one final tip I'll give to everybody. As you get comments online, whether it's on Facebook or YouTube, or people are commenting about a project that you're working on in Slack, communication tools, always engage your audience and reply, and have someone on your team replying and commenting, letting people know that they're being heard and that your company is responsive and your company does care about their questions, because these are real people online. Sometimes you can forget, because you're getting a lot of comments, that it's important to even ask a question to another question to engage the conversation and keep it going and moving the conversation forward. I'll end on that. Sharing information is good for business, and doing it professionally and engaging is very powerful. Making an experience, connection with your audience is so great. Thank you